Marie and I went to a karaoke thing last night, so I woke up and couldn't get Sweet Caroline out of my head. Carmen and Dave have healed me, and I appreciate that. Oh, sorry. Jehovah. Just come back to it. Can't even mention it, can you? I know. Sorry, Kevin. Serenity now. We are given a certain amount of time in our life. And in that time, opportunities arise. And the choices that we make regarding those opportunities are our legacy. And there's all kinds of opportunities. Say you're given an inheritance, just a gift of a significant amount of money. What are you going to do with it? Will you be the genius who turns it into a fortune? Will you be the fool that squanders it? Will you be the chicken who just socks it away? Or say you're part of a startup company and it takes off, and the founder that you work with starts to become famous and known, and you have a trusted position, and you have privileged information. What are you going to do? Are you going to be the silent partner, the loyal wingman who gets no publicity? Are you going to be the backstabber who goes to the competition and gives out the privileged information, sells it? Are you going to be the failure that leaves this guy to start your own thing and it flops? So there's all sorts of our choices with these opportunities are how we're remembered. And the opportunities come and go. The opportunity window can shut very quickly. Who wants to go start a Blockbuster franchise store with me? You guys ready? Who's in? I'm taking checks in the lobby after. We sometimes have a short time to make the right choices. So today we're looking at two people. Each are given an opportunity, each made a choice, and both are remembered based on that choice. We have a woman, and Mark doesn't even tell us her name. We're staying in Mark. We're not going to grab some information from some of the other Gospels and bring it in. We're staying with Mark and what Mark's telling us, and he just says this is a woman, doesn't say her name. And somehow she's obtained a very valuable possession, an alabaster jar of pure perfume ointment that is worth a year's wages. Now, how did she get this? We don't know. We're not told. Did she buy it? I don't know. Was it a gift? More likely, right? Maybe she or someone in her family worked for royalty, made a dress, and was given this by someone who would have such a thing of value. You know, and I would ask you to imagine receiving a gift that's worth a year's wages, but then you'd leave and not come back. You know, it's like mentioning Sweet Caroline. There you go. Your mind's now your mind's gone. Don't think about that. Put yourself in her position. We're doing the I am Joseph here. I'm this woman. What would you do? You're given this thing that's so special. And you have to wonder, what am I to do with this? I've been given this opportunity. What am I to do? You thinking, what is she saving this thing for? Is it for her wedding? Is it for her daughter's wedding? Is she thinking, this is a family heirloom, it's going to be passed on and passed on? So she has these thoughts. She probably had it in safekeeping, and every once in a while would think about, what am I going to do with this? So that was her opportunity. And then we have a man, and Mark tells us his name is Judas Iscariot, but Mark doesn't give us a whole lot more about him, his background. He was selected by Jesus as one of the 12. And many of the disciples had this idea that Jesus was going to take over Israel, and many people, and had the hope. And that when they were going to Jerusalem, Jesus was going to take charge with the power that obviously God had given him. God was with him. It was clear. He was healing people. He was casting out evil spirits. Surely he could take control. And they were thinking, boy, when he takes control, then I'll have that all-important seat among his cabinet, his people. And then I'll have power as well. But Jesus keeps talking about the fact that the chief priests are going to put him to death. He keeps saying this. And the chief priests are now out to do such a thing. And they're looking for that opportunity to do so. They can't do it in front of everyone. They can't do it in Jerusalem during the daytime when there's these massive crowds. If they tried to arrest Jesus, who was delighting the crowds with his teaching, then the crowds could riot. And we have to keep in mind that under Roman rule, if you cannot riot, you have to keep Pax Romanos. You have to keep peace. And so that was a big thing for these leaders, was they had to work for peace. They could not cause a riot. And so they were looking for an opportunity to find Jesus in a private place. Who knows Jesus? Who knows where he's going to be at night when there's not a lot of people, when he's vulnerable, when he's not surrounded? We need an insider. So it was the 4th day since Jesus had entered Jerusalem. In the 3 days prior, what he would do is he stayed out in Bethany, and then he would go into Jerusalem for the day, leave Jerusalem, come back out to Bethany. And the Passover would begin the next evening at sundown. Passover would begin. So Jesus decided to recline at his host's table and relax. He was taking the day off. He wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't going to Jerusalem today. And so this provided an opportunity for both of our characters. This was the opportunity here. For Judas, now he can go to Jerusalem by himself. He's not with Jesus in the crowds. The 12 aren't together. He can go in there without people watching him. He could go in and then he could speak to these chief priests. See if they're interested in paying him to hand over Jesus. And so he did. And they rejoiced at the opportunity. And they promised to pay him, and they told him to look for that opportunity. Look for the opportunity. Here's what we're looking for. Inform us when he's vulnerable. And the next night, Judas made that choice. Now, the woman, again, we don't have a lot of information about her, but it seems likely she was from that area, because if she traveled in, then why would she travel with such a valuable thing? You know, if we were given this thing worth a year's wages and we're wondering what we're going to do with this, we would probably leave it in a safe place. We wouldn't drag it along to this festival with us. So she had to have access to that. She was aware that she heard that Jesus was hanging out at this house in Bethany, and she knew where it was. And then while she wasn't invited, she wasn't barred from entering. So she was able to go into this house, and they allowed her to enter. So maybe she was from that area, and she had this opportunity. Jesus was there. So she went and took out of that safe place her most precious possession. She walked to that house where Jesus was, walked in, found Jesus, broke the jar, and poured the entire contents of that valuable perfume on Jesus' head. It's beautiful. Two people, two simultaneous opportunities, two drastically different choices, two opposite legacies. So the choices we make are based on our values. And our values are based on what we think is valuable. That's our values. What do we think? What do we believe has value, is valuable? And for Judas, it's clear what's valuable to him. Doom, 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 boom, 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 doom, doom, doom. Money. I got that one in your head now, Kevin, instead of Sweet Caroline. Clear, concise, countable, comparable. The world loves it. It's always loved it. It loves. That's what the world values is money. But the woman had kingdom values. She was given the opportunity to honor her king, and she made a choice based on that value. You know, when did it first dawn on her? Just think about her. That's what I'm going to do with it. I have this. I've been wondering what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to sacrifice it to him. He deserves it. He's worth it. She made that choice. She wanted to honor her king. Jesus was above the money. We see her value. What did she value? Jesus over all things, my most precious possession. I have the opportunity to give it to him, and I'm going to. And she did it. She followed through because of her values, because she thought he was worth it. She believed that. And some there, and we've got to assume that some there, that they're hanging out in a private residence. This is going to be the disciples and Jesus' close followers. They demonstrated their worldly values. They got angry and scolded her. Can you believe it? They recognized the money, the monetary value of that perfume, and they judged her choice a waste. In fact, they said, what a loss. What a loss. So to her, their remembrance, her legacy to them with their worldly values was she's the fool. She was given something valuable, and she squandered it. She wasted it. Jesus had a different legacy for her. Jesus rebuked them, and in doing so, he provides a lesson on kingdom values. This is where we get value out of this, to learn about what kingdom values are. You know, the thought is, if any of these guys, if they were at her house, or if she said, just, you know, in another context was like, look at this valuable, look at how valuable this thing is, and they showed it to her. Would any of them said, sell it immediately and give to the poor? I mean, you know, we love spending other people's money, don't we? Or criticizing them on how they should. You know, that's one of our favorite things to do. Leave her alone. Why do you give her trouble? She's just done a good work. So the kingdom values here, the lesson here is Jesus is the judge. If we this woman did a wonderful thing for Jesus, and if we left it up to what the world thought of her, if they're the judge, even such good people as Jesus' disciples and close followers, she's the fool. She's the one that squandered it. But they're not the judge, are they? Jesus is the judge. And he said, you have made a choice that your legacy will be known anytime the gospel is preached because of your choice. See, he's the judge. He's to determine what is good. He is the one who gives us a lasting legacy. And only his opinion matters, right? He's the eternal judge. So that's whose opinion we should value, whose judgment matters for us and how we're thought of, remembered. It's Jesus that matters. He's the judge, no one else. And then he says, she has done a good work for me. For me is the emphasis. They're saying, wait a second, you brought this to give it, to donate it to our ministry, and it could have been best used elsewhere. And, Jesus is saying, no, this isn't for our ministry, our organization. This is for me. Don't you see? She did this for me. When we do something, we do it for Jesus. Period. That's it. We can get sent all sorts of wrong directions by doing it for other people or what they think. Can't we? We're doing it for Jesus. There's a great book by Robert Mulholland, Invitation to a Journey. He was a professor at Asbury, not one of mine, but before my time. And he had this concept. He said, when you do something for Jesus, you do it no strings attached. That means it doesn't matter if it becomes this big success, if God uses it to what the world thinks is a great thing. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to you. You've given it to Jesus. You've given it to Jesus, and you give it no strings attached. In fact, he could use it or even not use it. It's up to him. It's been given. You've given it to Jesus. Isn't this freeing as you're thinking about this? When we do something for Jesus, we do it no strings attached. We've got to let go of all of our expectations, our fantasies of how great this is going to be and how popular and how it's going to be some legacy and everyone's going to think this and people money and all this stuff. And no, we're doing it for Jesus. It's a gift for him to do whatever he wishes to do with it. And when we give it, that's when it's determined a success. This was a success, Jesus said. Pure success. You don't even understand how meaningful this is. It's a gift to me, and it is a wonderful success. And then he says, you will always have the poor, and you can do for them whatever you wish. You will not always have me. She did what she could. And this speaks to opportunity. Giving to the poor is an important thing to do. The opportunity there is always open. Sometimes opportunities have a short window. And what we're to do, the kingdom values are to take advantage of the opportunities that God's saying, here's an opportunity. I mean, that's walking by faith, isn't it? That's the way we're supposed to live each day. We're supposed to give it to Jesus. And then that day, he will give us opportunities to do something for him, to serve somebody, to reach out. That's what Murray's doing for Lent. I'm spilling the beans now. And God will still reward you, Murray. She's just looking for opportunities, I'm saying because I'm telling everybody. She's just every day looking for some opportunity to just reach out. God's going to create an opportunity, and then I'm going to take it. That's all. That's my sacrifice of Lent, because he does that. She didn't really understand what was going on with the whole. She has done this for my burial. She was just following this opportunity to connect with God. Jesus put all that together, or God put all that together. That's what happens. It comes together that way. And also in Lent, Lent is in itself and designed to be an opportunity to connect with Jesus. It's an opportunity. During Lent, Jesus is in a house nearby, reclining at the table. No one's going to stop you. Go in. Go in and have a moment with him. Go in and make a sacrifice to him. Go in and show how much you value him. That's what Lent is. There's that opportunity. And we value other opportunities more. And then in the kingdom values, he includes us in his work. He includes her, like I was talking about, the way the Holy Spirit fits. She didn't know all that. She was preparing him for his baby. Maybe she did. But I think what she was just following her heart and the Holy Spirit and taking advantage of an opportunity. And then God put the pieces together. So it was like, wow, it's so much bigger. She poured out for him. And then he poured out for her and for us. Just a bit farther down in Mark, you read it in your reader this week, he says, "This is the blood of my covenant poured out for many." And then he includes her in his gospel. Whenever the gospel is preached in the whole world, what she has done will be told in memory of her. And so he secures her legacy. I love the confidence. Here he is facing his death, but also saying this good news is going to be preached all over the world. You see, Jesus knew, had faith, had confidence, was speaking this to the disciples. And so in all four Gospels, this story is mentioned. This woman is mentioned. All four Gospels. This woman is known all over the world. And we're all part of that. That's the thing. We're all part of that. Understanding the kingdom is being part of the kingdom. We're part of Jesus' worldwide work. We can't forget we are the physical. Jesus' physical body is in heaven. So we are today, in this moment, in this opportunity, in the time that we're given, we are the physical body of Jesus walking around on the earth. That's who we are as the church. Individually, collectively, both. That's who we are. We're part of that worldwide work. We're part of his legacy. He brings us into that. We're part, and it's eternal. It's an eternal legacy. So, we are each given a certain amount of time, and in our time, opportunities arise. And the choices that we make with those opportunities are our legacy. Let's take a couple minutes and meditate on this story. Think about her and her sacrifice. Speak to the Lord. Open our minds to a word that he might have for us, that we can put on our altarpiece meditation. You don't be afraid to doodle and make, you can draw too. Make some things. Create. So take a moment with the Lord. Here's an opportunity for you.